Hi beautiful people, I'm Jennifer Kenny and I'm here to talk to you about how you can continue to enhance your leadership and management skills. I've worked with leaders and managers on and off for the last 30 plus years, and in that time I have discovered something remarkable about most of us, and that's what I want to talk to you about in this video. What would happen if there was one primary thing that you could do every single day that would automatically enhance your management and leadership skills? What would happen if you shifted from fear of failure to fail fast, learn faster? And what would also happen if you moved away from needing to be right and really put your emphasis on needing to be effective? By the end of this video, I want you to understand how important courageous discomfort is in your ability to be able to grow and build your leadership and management skills and competencies. In the 30 plus something years that I have been working with leaders and with managers, and have been one myself, I've been a CIO, I've headed up global organizations, but there's one thing that I have consistently seen and would consider myself at some times in my life to be also very guilty of, is a leader's need to be right. Now, if we're focused on being right versus being effective, what we do is we put ourselves in a position where we absolutely limit our learning. One of the things that I have now really begun to understand is that discomfort is something terribly important for us as leaders to learn how to be able to embrace. Not discomfort for the sake of discomfort, but discomfort with courage. Discomfort because that discomfort, when we come out the other side of it, is going to allow us to be a more effective leader. In my book, The Innovation Mindset, I want to talk to you about this one thing, which is courageous discomfort. If you will allow me, I want to read just 2 paragraphs from my book. There's a popular story about the 19th century Antarctic explorer Ernest Shackleton. The story goes that he took out a short advertisement in the London Times. And the advertisement said, "Men wanted for hazardous journey, small wages, bitter cold, long months of complete darkness, constant danger, safe return doubtful, honour and recognition in case of success." Although historians doubt whether Shackleton himself took out the advertisement, the narrative is an inspiring one. 5,000 people applied. One of them was a woman. Kudos to her. Ultimately, 28 men, and one of them was a stowaway, so compelling was the narrative. 69 dogs went on the expedition with Shackleton. The modern workplace doesn't carry anything like the same chance of icy death, although some of us may relate to long months of complete darkness. But Shackleton has a lot to teach us about living in a state of courageous discomfort. He pursued discontinuous innovation and also relied on iterative innovation. Courageous discomfort isn't about seeking discomfort for its own sake. It means being comfortable with being uncomfortable so that we can learn. The courageous discomfort diagram here maps this out. There are 2 types of learning: slow learning and fast learning. Slow learning is when we're uncomfortable with being uncomfortable. And fast learning is when we're comfortable with being uncomfortable. On the left, where we see slow learning, that's where we come from a place of certainty, from a place of zero tolerance with failure, from an absolute need to be right, and ultimately that leads to arrogance. I think that this is the Achilles heel of most leaders and most aspiring leaders. And it has been mine for periods of my career. Fast learning, on the other hand, is when we're comfortable with being uncomfortable, as Shackleton was inviting his people to be. When we can live in wonder, when we can fail fast but learn faster, when we're committed to being effective, and when we can exhibit curiosity. The reason why I pick courageous discomfort as being the most important thing that we can get comfortable with as leaders is that it is the opportunity for us to be able to put ourselves in a constant state of learning. Wisdom, knowledge, and leadership aren't the absence of ignorance. They are the ability to act while still learning. As a leader, we're always in learning mode, and things move around us incredibly quickly. as they do for everybody in organizations today. If we have a need to be right, we are shooting ourselves in the foot every single time. Certainty and wonder are two things that are really worth exploring. We as human beings actually seek a level of certainty because it makes us feel comfortable, assured. It makes us feel like we know what we're doing. It really speaks to our ego and allows us to be able to think like we're in control. If we live in wonder, which is a story that looks something like, I don't know what's going on here, but I like it because I'm curious and I'm interested in learning more. What that does for us is it allows us to be able to pull ourselves into a position of wonder or into a mood of wonder. If you watch small kids, and we know now as human beings that our biggest learning as humans happens in the first 4 years of our lives. We learn more in those 4 years than we do pretty much in the entirety of the rest of our lives in terms of our ability to be able to function in the world. And young children live in wonder. All you have to do is spend a day or an afternoon with them and you will get to really experience wonder firsthand. And I really encourage you to do it. If you have nieces or nephews or kids of your own, spend some time with them and just hone in on what does wonder look like when it's enacted by a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 4-year-old. And one of the things that I recognize in that is that as leaders, because we are looked to be certain and to know what is going on, we miss out on being able to express wonder. If we are looking to be innovative leaders, which I think obviously is absolutely essential for leaders now and in the future, our ability to be able to live in wonder is absolutely essential. We ask different questions when we live in wonder. We inquire with people more effectively. We build trust with people more effectively. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to have to show certainty at certain times. Wall Street will not allow you to not show certainty if you're a leader in a public company. But the ability to be able to see yourself in certainty and see yourself in wonder is absolutely essential for your management and leadership development. Traditionally, companies have had very little tolerance for failure. And as a result of that, what has happened is that we have this notion that if we fail, we're going to get fired. If we fail, they're going to shoot the messenger. What happens when that is the common sense inside a company? That we do very little experimentation. And yet how we move forward, how we innovate, how we really make innovative things happen is by experimentation. So your ability to be able to experiment in a controlled way, because you can set up controls around your experiment. You can make it small, you can put it into phases, you can make sure you have tight metrics around it. You can experiment and you can see when you're failing quickly and you can call it quickly. Your ability to be able to fail fast and learn faster from the experience is an absolutely core part of your leadership ability and requires a level of courageous discomfort. As leaders, we are expected to have the answers and we're expected to be right a large part of the time. What that does is it steals our focus away from how effective we are actually being. If we're committed to being right, what we tend to do is we tend to shut out all other opinions. And when we shut out all other opinions, we create a cognitive blindness for ourselves that doesn't allow us to be able to see our own faults, our own bad decisions, the mistakes that we are currently making or have made in the past. If we're able to commit to being effective, to produce amazing results, to grow incredible people, to deliver enormous value, if we're able to move ourselves into a space of being effective, what we do is, again, it precipitates us asking different kinds of questions. And it puts us in a position where we are constantly growing our leadership and management skills because we're questioning ourselves. We're not questioning ourselves to the point where we're frozen and we don't know what to do, but we're questioning ourselves to ask ourselves how we could be more effective. We're able to observe other people differently and see how they are being effective and how we could, in the same manner, be more effective in what it is that we're doing. At the top of the diagram, we saw arrogance and curiosity. Arrogance basically tells the story that says, your opinions are interesting and I can hear them, but they're not useful for me and I am not willing to engage with you. Curiosity, on the other hand, says, I'm interested in where you're coming from with this interpretation or this opinion or this offer that you're making to me, and I'd like to explore it further. Now, obviously, if you do that with everybody who walks into your office, your days are going to get burned. But you can get more and more discerning around your own curiosity if you recognize it as a key leadership quality and something that you want to be able to practice and something that you want to be able to refine and get better at over time. So if you put these two columns together in courageous discomfort, and you look at the ability to be able to move from the slow learning, needing to be right, ultimately end up being arrogant, to the fast learning, fail fast, live in wonder, express it as curiosity, you can begin to see how that level of humility and that level of self-awareness and that level of curiosity is actually a huge catalyst for your leadership and management development. There's another video that you should absolutely check out, and that is how to effectively use both management and leadership skills. As you do it, think about courageous discomfort, and as you work yourself into that, drop a line for me in the comments. Let me know how it's working for you, and I wish you the best of luck with your courageous discomfort.